When are you getting married, James? Didn't know about this.
That's James's plan, isn't it?
It might be an expensive stag do, I think.
Welcome everyone to episode 29 of the Evo podcast. Had a bit of a summer break, so welcome back. We have Yousuf, James and John with us for this episode.
Stu.
Talking of breaks, Yousuf's just come back from a holiday in Jordan which involved a camel.
Yes, different kind of test drive, that one.
Yeah,
That was fun.
2 humps or just the one?
Just the one on this one.
Okay.
Yeah. Good ride.
Good ride?
Good secondary ride as well. Yeah, quite smooth. Yeah.
Thirsty or was it quite economical?
It's quite thirsty. I think it was about 6 to the gallon in the end. Yeah.
Big fuel tanks though.
Big fuel tank. Yeah.
Long endurance.
Endurance fuel tank. Yeah.
Right, I think that's the end of our travel correspondent careers. Let's get back to what we kind of sort of claim to know about cars. What have we been up to before you went away? You were at the other side of the world in the US, weren't you?
Yes.
What were you up to?
Driving the Mustang GTD, which isn't a diesel Mustang, as some people seem to assume when I tell them. So that was really interesting. Kind of a GT3 RS rival.
This is the one we've been waiting for some
Yeah,
time.
it is. Yeah, because we've got the Dark Horse, which is kind of a little bit more track focused, but not really transformative. But then now they've got 300 grand track car with Multimatic dampers, 800 horsepower.
Yeah.
How much has Ford Performance or Ford Racing it's now called again, isn't it? But how much have they done? How much has Lariat Multimatic done?
Do you know what? It's a bit of a mix. I think all the suspension and kind of the hardware changes are Multimatic, as far as I'm aware. But then obviously Ford Performance set the brief of the car, which was to break 7 minutes at the ring.
Yeah.
And I think the whole ethos behind it is they go racing with a GT3 Mustang at IMSA and GT World Challenge, and they wanted a road car to say, look what we can do on the road as well, and to go up against the Europeans. So it has cracked it. It has done the 7 minutes at the ring, which is quite impressive.
Yeah.
But then you look at GT3 RS going 3 seconds quicker with 300 horsepower less. It kind of puts it in context. It's a big mountain to climb, beating that car. But yeah, I really enjoyed it, actually. It was a compromised launch.
Yeah, you had some challenging weather.
Yes, yeah. So we're in Palm Springs, and for the good weather, actually, and then it rained, and then it rained some more.
Does it rain only a few inches a year there? But you had it all in.
Yeah, I think it's 5 inches of rain per year on average, and we got the thunderstorm, so we got all 5 inches in one day. So so not great, but I think it was a really friendly car. I mean, you look at it and it looks like a beast, 800 horsepower supercharged, but even in those wet conditions you could just drive it like a Mustang and enjoy it and cruise around. It's got loads of torque, really friendly balance as well, so yeah, I really enjoyed it.
What tyres was it on?
So it was on the Cup 2Rs
In the rain?
in the rain, and they're the widest Cup 2Rs ever fitted to a production car, so not ideal. I think it's 305s at the front and 345 at the back, and they're bespoke to the car as well.
Supercar size is 335, isn't it? Isn't that the...
Yes, yeah. I think the GT3 RS is on 315s or 325s at the back, so this is even wider, and obviously really wide at the front.
Yeah.
And I think they just looked at the Nürburgring target and thought, what do we need to achieve that? Throw loads of tyre at it and make it work. And they have, to be fair. It's a really nice, relaxed road car.
The other thing they've thrown in it is the trick suspension, isn't it?
Yes.
It's got proper active suspension. Is it similar to the dampers on the Ferrari Purosangue?
Yeah, they call it spool valve technology. So instead of using shim stacks, there's like a motorised hole for the valve in the damper, so that can change every millisecond or whatever it is really quickly. And then you can lower the car by 40 mil.
Oh, a bit like the Ford GT track mode.
A little bit like that, yeah.
Itself down
at the push of a button?
Yes, so there's 2 springs. There's like a road spring and then a harder track spring. And if you press a button hydraulically, I think the softer of the 2 springs compresses fully. So you drop the ride height and you're much stiffer overall on the spring rates. It's really cool to see it working. You can see like through a window at the back the dampers being compressed.
And it's all inboard as well.
It's all inboard, yeah. So it's completely new rear subframe. It's something that you kind of look at in the mirror when you're driving, when you shouldn't really be. You're like, oh, that's a big bump. How did that look? Kind of thing, yeah.
On the Nürburgring.
Yeah, on the Nürburgring, yeah. Through floodplaats or something. You're like, oh. But, it was an interesting car. We drove it on track as well, around Thermal Club Raceway. that was wet, and we weren't allowed to use the track mode.
That's frustrating.
That was a big frustration, because it probably, I mean, we didn't try it, but it must transform the car running that much lower. Must get the aero working a lot more, much stiffening.
Why did they not let you?
Because there was a damp patch into turn 1. yeah.
I mean, all the cliches of American racing are true.
Yeah.
Because they just not coned it off or something, and then
yeah, it was compromised anyway, because it was raining all day, and they didn't let us run unless there was a dry line on the track, which there was towards the end, but we had like 20 minutes, so it was literally cars lapping, coming into the pits, new driver swapping, go out again,
just to get the experience.
Yeah, and the cars were getting quite hot as well, because we were in a kind of ducks and drakes formation. Which I said wasn't kind of ideal, because you're trying to assess the car and you've got a dark horse in front of you that you're following that's overheating the car with the hot air.
Surely a dark horse is so much slower than a GTD.
Yes, yeah.
You're not going to be able to drive that car to its potential.
Yeah, exactly. I was quite surprised, actually. So we were behind a couple of pro drivers, and in the normal mode, in the GTD, I was expecting it to feel more like an aero car, because I'd just been out of a GT3 RS for another shoot, an Evo shoot that's coming up. And that you could just commit like you wouldn't believe in the high speed stuff, really reassuring. But then this, it weighs 2 tons. It generates the same downforce figure as a RS, but I think with the high ride height that we were running, it wasn't really working. The aero is hard.
So it's working against itself, really, wasn't it?
Yeah, so following the dark horse, I was like, for some reason, I'm not really catching him as much as I thought I would.
And that car's really good in the wet. We discovered on Ecoti, it drives really well when it rains.
Yeah, really progressive and quite friendly.
But also those ducks and drakes things that you do on events, we were talking earlier before we were recording, weren't we? They can actually be... They're not the sort of the thing that, say, some of the manufacturers think they are. They're not actually that safe or intuitive, because you're following normally a lesser power car, but with a pro driver in it that's maybe at the limit, and you're trying to understand this brand new car, but you've got a car in front you've got to follow. You're conscious you've got people behind that need to be close enough to see where the track goes or what the team want you to try and do. So you end up sort of just... It's like driving in packs on the motorway, isn't it, almost? You think, well, I'm not getting anything out of this. It'd be far safer if you just let me go out for half a dozen laps on my own, and I'll come in.
Because then you have to respect the car and the track, obviously, when you're by yourself. But I think when you've got a reference in front of you, who's often a really quick driver anyway, it pushes you into a new realm where you're like, I don't really know what's going on here. There's quite a big closing speed as well to the dark horse. So, but overall, I did really enjoy the car. I think it doesn't feel like a GT3 RS in any way, really. And you look at the spec and you think similar aero performance, and it's been fully gone through with the suspension and everything. It still feels like a Mustang.
2 tons.
2 tons, yeah.
And what does the race car weigh?
The race car, I don't know. I think the race car has a new tubular frame rather than the standard car chassis on the front and rear, so different subframes.
Yeah,
okay.
I think it's a fair bit lighter. But it does feel like kind of a big up and at you muscle car that can do the dynamic stuff as well. And it's really, really enjoyable, I think.
I mean, that actually sounds like quite an appealing blend in a way. Something with all the character of a Mustang, but that capability on the track.
It's good that they haven't sort of eroded the Mustang bit of it and just turned it into a silhouette car. So it still feels and sounds, I guess, like you'd expect it to. As it looks, you want it to sort of be quite a big thing. Do you still sit on massive armchairs, or have they put proper seats in?
It's the same seats. That's probably the most disappointing part of the car, because you look at the outside and it's all bespoke.
I was going to say, for how much?
And you get in, it's like 300 grand, and I'm in a 40 grand interior. It's not great.
There's no bucket seat or...
So I asked about the carbon seats, and they were saying that they can't adapt the normal Mustang seats to have carbon backs and everything without losing the side airbags. But you'd think at that price level you just develop a new seat or something.
There'd be an off-the-shelf
There are
seat.
seats.
That you can...
Or put a roll cage in to give it a more racy vibe.
There must be reasons why not. I'm sure they've
just too heavy. Don't put a cage
more
in.
weight.
Let's not, we could put a lighter seat in it, but no, let's not. Well, that's a bit disappointing then, because that's all, particularly a lot, is about being in the car, isn't it? You don't want to have to always be driving it to its limit. You want to feel special. As you say, you walk up to it, it looks fantastic when you walk up.
It's an amazing looking thing, isn't it? From
and
the
then
outside.
as you get in, it's like, it's a Hertz interior with big seats and a just cheap sort of leather and thing. Yeah,
and they did say they were like the Porsche 911 has the same thing with the RS, but I think that's starting at a much higher level in terms of the cabin, and you do have proper seats and a cage and everything.
Of course you do.
Really special.
Yeah, that's disappointing. Well, that's the review of Mustang seats then.
Yeah, exactly.
Will we get maybe another time in the car with a less compromised opportunity?
I hope so. I think perhaps next year we'll have more time in it on a proper circuit as well, in the dry. Yeah. But at the moment, there's just not any cars in Europe to test. They're all prototypes, and it's quite an expensive, limited run kind of thing. So there's not cars knocking around. But
Nürburgring aside, what sort of circuit would suit it, do you think? It looks, and talk about the aero, it's like a Spa and a Paul Ricard, a very Silverstone, very quick stuff. Does it work? Do you think it will work on other circuits, tighter, more sort of complex stuff, or is it more aero and just you need the quick stuff?
I think compared to something like a GT3, it's probably a car that you're not going to be at the limit the whole time when you drive it. So it almost doesn't really matter what kind of corners you're driving it on, because in the high speed you're managing it anyway, and it's a bit slippy slidey and there's a lot of weight going on. Then in the low speed you've got the same kind of thing. So it's more about the experience, I felt, rather than absolutely nailing a lap time. So I think it'd be fun pretty much anywhere. Okay. I think, but that's with the proviso we didn't drive it in the track mode, and that could make it an aero monster that would be good at Spa or somewhere like that.
Sounds like it could be quite fun on the road. Sounds like it could be.
Yeah, it was. I mean, it was absolutely pouring with rain. 815 supercharged horsepower, which wasn't ideal, but it's quite a friendly car. I think again the standard Mustang comes through in a good way, because it doesn't surprise you, and if you put in too much, it'll give you back too much and start sliding around and being quite awkward. But other than that, you can just get into a nice rhythm with it, enjoy the engine, not push it too hard, and just enjoy being in it. I think it's a really cool thing.
That's cool. And so, moving on from 2 tons of track-focused muscle car, our lightweight driver has been in something only a single...
I've put a bit of weight on recently.
Our lightweight specialist. Don't listen to that HR. You've been in something that you've got one seat. Yes. That is kind of moulded to you and also on track. So what have you been up to? You just got back yesterday, I think, didn't you? I got back yesterday from the Red Bull Ring in Austria. I've been driving the BAC Mono Cup. So the BAC Mono, which we know is this beautiful kind of object dart, if that's the right term, but a sort of motorsport level creation, one seat, 2.5 litre engine, incredible power to weight ratio.
It's like a single seat for the road, isn't it?
It is, yeah. It's sort of as close as you can get to a Formula car with number plates and that you can drive on the road. They're now going to go racing with it, but in their own one make series.
How many cars are they hoping for the grid?
So they're hoping for 24 cars on the grids. It's going to start in the Middle East to begin with.
Yes, because they've got a big dealer in the Middle East, haven't they?
Yeah.
That's doing a lot of work with getting the cars out there and
exactly that. Yeah.
Sort of that expanding that customer base, because for these sort of small bespoke manufacturers, sometimes they'd be amazing products, but they don't sort of branch out that far from their home turf because just the cost and doing that. But they've had a backer in the Middle East for a while now, haven't they? Yeah, to expand it.
They actually sell the Mono to more than 40 markets, which is amazing for such a specialised car.
Well, they've obviously pinpointed a customer in each country that just wants, because it's quite it's a very selfish car in a way, because it's only one seat.
You can't share the experience.
Yeah, you've got to have lots of other cars in your collection. So.
And obviously most of the customers, it's not their only car. They've got a few other interesting things in the garage, or garages plural. But it's always been built to kind of motorsport standards, with the rollover protection and all the crash structure. It has a Formula 3 gearbox, quite literally, and in fact the closest thing it is in ethos is kind of a Formula 3 car. It's got that side intake, a bit like a rocket launcher on the side of the car. So it'll be a kind of arrive and drive series. So rather than the cars being sold to race teams or individuals who will take them away, you just rock up. There'll be a fleet of 24 cars. Every car will be totally equal. And
will you swap cars per race?
They have talked about potentially doing that.
Potentially. Was it Seat did that with the Cupra Challenge?
Oh, maybe.
You to stop all the whole thing of, well, that car's quicker than
Yeah.
my
Yeah.
car.
It's like a ride and drive karting, isn't
Yeah,
it?
literally, you just get you could get the Duff one.
Yeah, one of they used to swap ECUs. You could pick your ECU out of a box.
Really?
Yeah.
So there's no cheating on the engine
Wow.
side.
Well, speaking of karting, that's the format they're thinking of doing, is kind of heats and final, and maybe you maybe have a reverse grid for the second heat and stuff. So the idea is
So it
that
could
you'll
be
always be
it could be
battling.
the ultimate stag do then.
Imagine, yeah.
When are you getting married, James? I didn't know about this.
That's James's plan, sorted, isn't it?
It might be an expensive stag do.
Yeah.
I think the.
It doesn't matter. We'll suck it up.
We'll club together. I'm sure our expenses can handle it.
Is it road legal then? This car?
Yeah. So although
So it retains the road legal element of the mono anyway.
yeah, so initially it will purely be a race series. They're concentrating on that first, but there will be customer demand. Some customers will always want the hairiest, lairiest, fastest version of a car, and it can be converted to be road legal with fairly minimal alteration because it's so closely related to the regular mono.
It is
Yeah.
a race car.
Yeah.
Anyway, so
Yes.
it's like
Yeah.
reverse engineering and reverse again. Isn't it?
Yeah.
Back to the same spot.
So that's kind of yet to be, kind of fully a part of the mono lineup, but in the sort of near future, you could conceivably buy one and drive it on the road. And actually, as well as driving it on the track, drive it around the paddock for photography and stuff, it's really tractable at low speeds. It has a clutch pedal. The turning circle's great. It will get over bumps and things. But on the track, it's so intense because the engine, it's a 2.5 litre 4-cylinder engine. It's a Mountune engine, revs to 9,000, and it's a stressed member of the car.
Yeah.
And then, you're a bit like a Formula 1 car, engine, gearbox, rear suspension is mounted to the gearbox, so all the vibrations are kind of coursing through you. But the braking performance is amazing. It's, composite brakes, motorsport spec ABS from Continental. So your braking distances are already so short because the car, it's something like 550 kilos dry, and then fluids only adds 25 kilos, so it's well under 600 kilos.
It's a quarter of a GTD.
Yeah.
A third. I
Yeah.
think. It's generous.
And the day we were driving it on was a Pirelli event. So
Yeah.
there were all kinds of cars because it's on special slick tyres developed by Pirelli.
So it's on a control tyre for the race series, I guess.
Exactly that, yeah. And also, for the first time, all carbon wheels for BAC as well. So, your unsprung mass is, tiny. And it was really incredible how late you can leave the braking. The acceleration is one thing. It goes like a rocket because it doesn't weigh anything. And the way it turns in and gets through a corner is remarkable. But yeah, there's that big uphill braking zone at Red Bull Ring. And you can be sort of flat out in fifth at a point where in another car you'd be heading for a horrible accident, and you just leave your foot absolutely pinned. And then when you hit the brakes, the way it hauls down the speed, and then you turn in, the response is instant. It's another level to so many cars I've driven. It's really, really.
So when is there a series for 26, or is
so
this
that's the plan. It'll be 2026. I think it'll be a winter series, taking advantage of the weather there, and also it means drivers who want to race and other things as well could do this series as well as other ones. So I think the first date is all TBC,
but all on Middle East track. So Abu Dhabi, Dubai circuit, Bahrain,
potentially the Jeddah circuit, the Formula 1 circuit, perhaps. So yeah, it should be a really exciting series. They've also got the latest Race Logic system. There's these 3 little antennae on the front of the car, and you can live stream the footage from in the car to. Drivers could stream to Twitch or YouTube or something like that.
Yeah.
If you're watching the race,
Who's going to watch
choose which driver you follow and so on. Really exciting. A lot of technology.
How much is the car?
Probably looking at something like $300,000 to take part in the series.
Yeah. So that would include the whole
package for the whole season. So all the race support, some testing, all the events and so on. And then in terms of an individual price, if you just wanted the car, that'll probably be at a later date because the concentration for the time being is the series. But it still has all of the visual appeal of the normal mono. It's just as beautifully finished as that car. it's almost like a sculpture to kind of walk around and take in. And I need to start winning the lottery.
Yeah, I was going to say, when can I expect your pitch of? I think we should go to somewhere warm in the winter.
I'm still working on that.
Yeah, I thought you might be.
I'll wait for the right moments.
Yeah. Well, talking of weather, John, and then the other end of the spectrum, you've been enjoying one of the world's fastest, most powerful cars in some very British weather.
Yeah, well, trying to enjoy it. Yeah, flew to Basel and then.
Did you manage to come out the airport the right side?
Yeah, because you can go to Switzerland if you
you can get it wrong. Yeah, if you're not concentrating.
Because it's cornered by, or it's bordered by 3 countries, I think.
I think so.
That bit of so it's down the Alsace region, sort of between France and Germany mainly, with a bit of Switzerland there as well. And we flew out on a Sunday, and we landed, and it rained. It was raining, and didn't get much sleep because the rain was so heavy, battering the windows. And then next morning, turn up at the chateau, the Bugatti Chateau, and there's our €5 million car with its little fabric roof stretched across its open.
Style.
Yeah. And it didn't stop raining. So 282 mile an hour car, as proven by our friend Andy Wallace, on a slightly damp circuit, Papenburg. With 1600 PS, 1500 and something horsepower, and it just was so cold and so wet. It was, there was not the opportunity to let the thing loose, because the roads were quite narrow in the vineyards, and it was all puddly and wet. And I had Bruno Spengler, who was the DTM champion 2012, alongside. Constantly checking the tyre temperatures. God, it's very low, aren't they? Very, very low tyre temperatures. And then he showed me there's 4 dials down the centre, and there's 2 modes, and the second mode shows you what the maximum horsepower you've used is. And for most of the morning, it was less than 300 PS. And I thought, I've got to get it. So finally got my foot in at one point, and I thought we got up to 829. So half the potential, half throttle.
That's probably enough.
That was enough. But the noise, because the little fabric roof traps you inside with the air intakes. Now, I've driven the McLaren, and that is a pretty wild noise. It's very staccato. You can hear it gathering torque, but this is all turbo whoosh, and then when the second set of turbos come in, it's like a lion's roar.
Wow.
It's completely ridiculous.
And this is a swan song for that engine, isn't it?
Yes.
I don't think there's any more specials planned or anything, is it? Or
well, they have to get these. I think they're building 9. They're building 100. They're keeping 1 because they keep all of their record breakers, I think. Which are all black and orange. So they've got to build the 99 for customers before the end of the year, because that's when the homologation for the W16 engine runs out. So they've got a hard stop on that. So it's quite busy there.
I bet it is. And that engine though it's evolved since Veyron, hasn't it? But and you've driven Veyrons when they were new. You've driven them recently. Can you tell the difference between an original W16 and the latest?
Well, the noise was completely different. I think the Veyron, it's a very bassy noise. There's not much treble. There's no high notes. It only revs to about 6.5. So it's more a torquey engine that sounds torquey. There's none of the high notes of something like the Revuelto, which is a completely different kettle of fish. And in this one, if you're very gentle on the throttle, you can just get that beat, the percussive, big capacity. So it sounds like a V8 noise, but then it gets completely consumed by this massive turbo. It's like you are next to the turbo, and it's going to suck your hair in to the intake manifold.
Maybe for you.
So it was an experience, but it wasn't the experience that you'd want.
So you sort of now need to have another go in the dry.
Yeah, absolutely.
So
absolutely.
Luke, can we have another go, please?
Mustang GTD and a Bugatti.
Nice sunny day. Nice
round 2.
Nice warm circuit in Abu Dhabi, maybe.
Sounds good. Yeah.
So you weren't allowed to drive a GTD in Palm Springs because there was a small
Wet
Puddle
patch.
on a
bundle,
corner.
sort of, puppy-sized puddle on the
Yeah,
corner. You were given a €5 million 1600 horsepower hypercar on
Yeah.
Cup 2s.
On Cup 2s. Cup 2s, yeah.
In proper European
Oh,
torrential
it was
rain. I
dark.
mean, the images are quite special. It does look like a
Matt.
boat with a
Yeah.
sail strapped over it.
Got to shout out to Matt Howell because the jacket he packed proved not to be waterproof. And it just didn't stop raining. He was a proper trooper.
Yeah.
These photographers, once they get going, once they know they're wet, they just
Yeah. Stick
crack
with
on.
it.
So he did a cracking job. But yeah, Bruno Spengler alongside. I mean, the talent that they've got as chaperones at Bugatti is pretty impressive.
So it's Andy
CVs.
Wallace and Bruno Spengler.
Yeah.
That's a pretty decent roster, isn't it?
Yeah, it is
Pilots.
pretty good. Yeah.
Must be quite nerve-wracking, isn't it, when you're sat next to someone like that? And even though they can appreciate the conditions are awful, you sort of almost, it's like driving with Paul Ripley, isn't it? You've got to be on your
Yeah.
best behaviour.
It's like a driving test or something,
Yeah.
isn't it? Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. Because at any time, don't like what you're doing, back to the factory.
Yeah.
So yeah,
So they're finishing off W16s and Mistrals, but did you see anything of the new Tubalon?
yes, that was in the obviously there's the chateau, the famous chateau, but the sort of sales bit of it is in another new building, and there was a tourbillon sitting in there, looking magnificent, and I think it's the loudest car. It didn't fire while we were there, but I've seen it a couple of times at a proving ground somewhere. And every time it fired up, no matter where you were on the proving ground, you could hear it. It is so loud. And of course, it's going hybrid, so there's 1,000. So I think is it 1,000 horsepower from the engine and 800.
It's
of
a
EV.
battery EV.
Yeah.
Because it's but the EV is all about performance, isn't it? So
Yes.
some of the Porsche systems, it's all about performance boost and
Yes.
efficiency of a performance rather than efficiency in terms of driving around with
Yeah.
an 800 horsepower electric motor.
Yeah. So yeah, I think it's a 9,500 RPM V16.
Yeah.
Which is like an engine from the
2 meters
30s.
long,
So, yeah. So yeah, imagine the whip on the crank. But Cosworth have built that. They build all of these bespoke, naturally aspirated supercar engines, don't they? So yeah, that's going to be it's going to be like a mega Revuelto, I'd say, because you're going to get that all the boost when you need it low down to get it going. Then the engine's going to take over.
That's what they should have called it, the Mega Revuelto.
All within the same family, kind of.
Interestingly,
Yeah.
I didn't realise that since it became Rimac Bugatti or Bugatti Rimac, I think it's Bugatti SAS, they can't use Aerolescent anymore to do their next
really?
speed runs.
Oh, interesting.
Because they're not actually officially,
So they come out of they're too disconnected from the group.
yeah.
Interesting.
Okay.
Because Porsche owns 40%, I think.
Yes.
Rimac owns the rest.
Yeah.
So, so that's why they were at Papenburg.
Interesting.
It is interesting.
Yeah.
But yeah, the Tourbillon's going to be a mega
And
thing.
we've mentioned it before and stuff, isn't it? Its focus is that V16 engine.
Yeah.
Not, I think everyone, when Matte came in and took control of it, it was going to be heading down the electric hypercar route. And he tells a great, when we went to see the preview of the Tubalon, when was that, 18 months ago, I think now, when it was first revealed. When he went in, he was presented with what the next product portfolio was going to be, and it was all EV. And he was like, why are you doing this? This is not what someone who spends this money wants. They don't want an electric hypercar. I know this because I make them.
It's kind of not what you expect the EV
but
maker
he
to
just
say.
understands what people who buy these cars, what they want. And you can't force people to buy stuff, as the wider market is now very quickly and very painfully discovering, isn't it? But his mindset was, well, I know no one wants to buy €2 million 2,000 horsepower electric hypercars. Why should we have a whole portfolio of them, of the next Bugattis? They should be what Bugatti stands for, which is ultimate engineering, exquisite engineering and design engineering, and that's, it's all low volume. That's what the customers want. But it was interesting listening to him when he mentioned that, and there's quite a few people were taken aback, expecting that, well, okay, you'll do this now, but the next one will be electric. It's like, no, it will be.
Yeah, because it was almost as if he's been gifted Bugatti because they need to make it EV, and there's nobody makes a better EV than Rimac.
Well, they
and
make
then
for
it's,
everyone.
Yeah.
And then it's just turned.
Yeah, quite spectacularly. Not just, I mean, we haven't. I was at an event yesterday for the late Ian Fraser, and so it's up in Norfolk, and everyone's car people up there, and one of the topics of conversation was someone had seen a Lotus Evija on the road. Admittedly, It was on the A11, so it was going either back to Hethel or coming from Hethel.
Yeah.
But those cars have just disappeared from everything, haven't they? Navaras, Batistas, Evias never really appeared. Mission X got silently sort of pushed to one side by Porsche. And then that trickles down to what's now happening with the mainstream stuff. I mean, the big story was Porsche announcing, actually, we're going to wind back our EVs. We're not doing our big electric SUV to sit above the Cayenne sports cars. So Boxer Cayman replacement is happening, but we're going to offer it with internal combustion engine as well. But it's been quite vague and ambiguous of what that is. We think it's going to be GT4s and Spiders with the GT3 top end stuff. Putting ICE engines and PHEV, so plug-in hybrids, into, it's called the K1 at the moment. It's code name, isn't it? But the KM Plus.
Yeah.
Taycan sales are not great. Audi e-tron sales. Yeah, it's not just Porsche. Everyone in that top end sector has caught a massive cold, almost a pandemic, you would say, of sort of no one wants these EVs. And then when the likes of Warren Buffett dumps all these BYD stock, you kind of think it's not the writing's on the wall, but Chinese EV sales
It's going to be
have slowed to the point where it's a big
Mm.
correction, and it starts with the hypercars. You think, well, that's the perfect way to get the performance of what hypercars should be, but it's now impacting everyone, and it's not a case of haha, we told you so, let's all just build V8s, because it has a huge impact on everything.
Yeah.
Because they're talking about accelerating the development of a new range of ICE and PHEV cars down to 3 years, and you kind of worry, what are they going to be like?
Yeah.
Are they going to be any good if you've
cobbled together?
And then you've got, so JLR used the BMW V8 engine, but BMW hasn't future-proofed it to run without hybrid. So anyone else who's using it, unless you've got a hybrid system, you can't use the engine after whenever the Euro 7 regs really kick in. Mercedes, Toyota and Stellantis have started to push back finally on Europe for 2035, saying this isn't going to be workable. Not because we don't want to do it, but it comes down to there isn't the consumer demand.
Yeah.
So we're not going to build cars that someone's not going to buy. So if you force us down this route, we will build fewer cars, which means we will sell less cars. Therefore, we don't need all these staff. So we will make huge job cuts. Where are they going to go?
And the knock-on effects of that are dire.
Oh, they're huge. I mean, Porsche aren't doing their battery factory. You do wonder that, is it now the industry is starting to wake up from its we're too big to fail, to realise that they can't be led by the legislators, which is what they've done. They've been led by the legislators and investors. Put your money in EVs and we'll back you. But you're backing something that doesn't have a sustainable future. But we said it earlier at an event we did, didn't we, earlier in the summer? If you had said 15 years ago, EVs will go from 0 to mid-20s market share, you'd have laughed and go, that's not possible. But they've done it, and that's actually a huge achievement. But is it going to get to full capacity? Nowhere near. Because you'll either, if all you end up building is EVs and there's no consumers for it, you won't sell any, and people will just hang on to their cars for longer. Or you've got to have that flex to give people the products they want. Speaking to an engineer the other week, their target now is for 200 kilometre electric range on their plug-in hybrids. So if you give someone 120 miles of electric range with a really efficient internal combustion engine as well, almost as a range extender as much as a powertrain, you get your zero tailpipe emissions in built-up areas and urban areas, which no one's ever going to complain about and is the right thing to do. But you give people the flexibility of what a car gives you that freedom.
Yeah, it's a very pragmatic solution, isn't it?
Yeah, it's a sort of, it seems to think, well, why didn't no one think of that or push that to start with? But it was such a race pure EV. You skipped that whole hybrid, and then we've had the narrative of hybrids are inefficient because you're carrying around two powertrains.
Yeah.
But the development in the background has actually led to lighter, more efficient,
quite clever cars.
Very clever cars, because they're benefiting from all this accelerated EV development. So their batteries you can take all that battery learning and motor learning.
And
but
software learning.
Yeah, but it is a bit of a scary moment when you see...
There's a lot at stake, isn't it?
Huge amounts, and they're big
beyond
legacy.
the industry.
Yeah, big legacy manufacturers, aren't they? It's a huge industry, employs a lot, as we've seen with JLR's cyber attack.
Yeah.
The effect is, it affects countries.
Yeah.
And you're having legislators sat in their ivory tower saying, do this because it keeps this vocal minority over here quite quiet, and doesn't it look good? It's a good headline.
That was when they announced the sort of these cut-offs for internal combustion engine production. They just relied on the fact that the motor industry is very responsive and can pivot and develop things really quickly. But that, as you say, that's come and stuck against consumer demand. Yeah. You can force the manufacturers to make them, but if the customers don't buy them, then suddenly it's not a viable option, is it?
You can never force a consumer to spend their money on something they don't want. And that's what they've tried. And EV prices are coming down, the China slowdown is, surprise, surprise, because the government have taken away the incentives. You kind of think China's very good at seeing what happens in the rest of the world and adapting, but did they not see that when Europe took away all its incentives, people stopped buying electric cars? And then the government's had to reintroduce one in the UK, but you could already get 10 grand off a Cupra Born and no one was buying it. So how much more do you have to knock off the price of an EV to get people outside of the fleet business, where if you're on a company car scheme, that's your only choice. But private buyers, like we've mentioned it many times, haven't we? You just keep your Mark 5 Golf or whatever you've got.
And it is an ageing sort of car population, isn't it?
Yeah, the car park average age has gone up to 9 years.
That's interesting.
Which is surely good for the environment anyway, isn't it?
Which is just good. The average age has gone up.
Apart from the emissions.
But it's a bit of it sort of supports that, because the average mileage has dropped as well. Average annual mileage has dropped. If you think people are back to work in offices and stuff, but not every day. There's less commuting, there's less travelling. I mean, the roads don't seem to be any quieter. But so there's more used cars in the market on the road, but they're all doing less miles than they used to do. So it's a bit of a worrying time for the industry, because it impacts everything. From Caterham, as you discussed on another podcast, they run out of engines. They need to go and find an engine supplier. These manufacturers haven't forecast or budgeted for a new range of engine development, and they're now having to do it. So
switch the development back on. It's quite a costly.
You can't just switch the machines back on.
But that was the certainty that was given by governments, wasn't it? We are definitely going on this route, and these are the deadlines.
They were asked, are you sure about this? Yep, we're definitely. Are you sure? You really? Yep, okay, we'll do it. But hang on a minute.
Yeah, you should sometimes ask engineers what the best solutions are.
Because they do have some very good ideas.
Politicians aren't famous for asking advice from people who know their subject, are they?
No, exactly. But it could. So out of the sort of the pain at the moment that a lot of people are experiencing across the whole board, there will be, I think, some fantastic solutions. Won't there? As you say, the engineers will be suddenly it'll be their problem, and they'll own it, and they'll come up with some really innovative stuff. I think that will be quite enjoyable, and hopefully my big hope is that weight will now become top of the agenda
again,
because if you're moving from 100% EV and you're going to PHEVs, one of the things you have to do is get the weight down to make them as efficient as possible, and therefore hopefully take the footprint down as well. Don't need such big cars. Stop building cars for people who can't control their diet. An
M5 weighs more than a Range Rover.
Madness.
We've been legislated into building bigger and heavier cars than ever, which have knock-on effects in environmental impact.
And that's exactly the point, isn't it? The industry and consumers have been legislated into something that doesn't work, and it's not because we're not all we're the 1% that love cars and will buy whatever, do whatever we can to drive the best cars and own the best cars. But 99% of people, cars are a necessity.
Yeah.
And it's a necessity because actually the legislators haven't provided an alternative. And now they're dictating your only source of transport, and it's too expensive and it doesn't fit people's lives. So, hopefully out of this bit of turmoil we're in at the moment, the industry will come out with some interesting products in the near future, which will be good. That's probably a good time to wrap up the first half, because we're going to come back in the second half and talk about the fascinating topic of tyres. And not just in a way of how can we destroy them quickest. John. So James.
Smoke it.
Go and get. We've got no biscuits, John.
Oh, I forgot to get them. They are in the bag.
Biscuit tin is just out a shot over there. So maybe when we come back, the tin will be on the table.
And we shall see you back in a minute. Right, welcome back, everyone. John's been down the cash and carry and found some caramel Rockies.
Yeah.
Sort of basic, the biscuits you find in your independent petrol station.
Yeah, they're not the best, but they are cheap. So
yeah.
And 7 bars as well, an odd number of bars.
Yeah, but also 96 calories per bar. That's quite high for something quite small.
Yeah, best before 2023 as well, I'm reading.
One for every day of the week. Obviously.
I think that's the end of our food critiquing, along with our travel advice, isn't it? Don't take anything from us when it comes to food. So we're going to talk about tyres this half. We're going to start with back to the mono, because that came on. You drove that on a pretty slick.
That's right.
And one thing we didn't talk about earlier was how it compared to the Dallara and Radicals that you spent a lot of time in this year and previous year. What are those cars? A slick tyre on a car that is, the mono is a road car. The Dallara you can get as a road car. What changes when you stick a slick on those cars?
Yeah, because those two cars are the two closest things I can think of to the mono, because it's such a unique thing. And with slicks, they're a weird creation, because when they're cold, it's like driving on ice. There's no grip at all. And also when they're brand new, you have to be so gentle with them, because if you tear the surface, that's it. You've kind of snookered yourself. So you have to, in some ways, bring them in quite gently, and in other ways be quite aggressive to get heat into them as quickly as you can. With the mono, they put tyre warmers on for me, so they kind of took some of that worry away. And also, because that car is so light and there's so little inertia, it warms them up really efficiently, and you feel the confidence to push quite quickly. But in other heavier cars, they can feel really odd on slicks to start with, and also the way the sidewalls deflect is a bit different. So you drive some cars, you sort of go down the pit lane, and it feels a bit like, when you step on a trampoline, and you have that slightly sort of tremulous kind of feeling. But the mono, it really seemed to suit them, and I know previous monos, when Evo magazine has timed them at Anglesey, the Mono R, which for a long time was the quickest thing we'd ever put a stopwatch on, that was on slicks when it set its time, because they do suit the car so well. It's not really an aero car, the BAC, so things like the Radical and the Dallara, huge amounts of downforce. In fact, the Dallara, the steering, that famous scary corner at Anglesey up the hill we've talked about, the steering became so heavy it was almost like going to the gym and doing a sort of on an exercise machine.
Was that from aero load or just
purely from aero load? I can't remember the figure off the top of my head, but it's a 1-to-1 downforce to curb weight ratio on the Dallara, so it's where it is 800 kilos of downforce, 800 kilos of car, something like that. Whereas the mono, it's actually all about mechanical grip. It develops a little bit of downforce. It's definitely negative lift. But I think the racing is going to be really good, because it's all about managing the tyre, and the car slides a little bit.
If it's all mechanical grip, sort of slicks are famous because they don't really give you anything back to manage, do they? They give you all the grip, and you've either got it or you haven't.
Yeah.
So how is there a way? Have they got more feel into it so you can manage it a bit more?
I think some of it is the really low centre of gravity, because you're right down on the floor and you're in this laid back driving position. I think it's something like 45 degrees. It's the same as an F1 car, but your feet aren't raised up. So actually you get in, and the first thing you try and do is sit up to sort of see over the top of the wheels, because you're so low in the car. And I think to your question, in much heavier cars, Slicks are weird because they give you all the grip in the world until they don't, and the edge is much snappier than a normal car. If you're driving a car with tread blocks, you have that nice squidgy edge to it, and it's easier to get the car sliding and hold it. Whereas slicks, the grip sort of falls off a right angle, and then you spin or something. I think in the mono, because it's low centre of gravity, light car, it kind of works all four corners in a more progressive way. So you almost settle into a nice little four-wheel drift in it, which is really cool.
Almost like a go-kart, if you think that's on slicks. And they're quite progressive, and you drive them with a straight wheel and just slide it around.
You just have this tiny metal lock to sort of get it into the corner, and then you almost hold it with the wheel straight. Or it's almost like a kart.
Well, tyres have become... they're always the most important thing. 'Cause it's the only thing that connects you to the road, isn't it? And no matter what the car is. But you do all our tyre tests, John. What have you noticed over the years of and your time at Jaguar as well, actually developing cars? How integral now is a tyre to a car's development, and how it sort of sets some of its characteristics?
Well, everything is bespoke these days on the high performance stuff. It seems you don't buy off the shelf anymore. Everybody has had a go at whether it's performance related or whether it's just refinement. It can be, the comfort that the car delivers. Everything is within margins. It's adjustable to suit the characteristic of your particular car. I mean, we do our tyre tests obviously on off-the-shelf tyres. It's not a specific thing. And what's interesting, you were on about China earlier, is the brands that are now coming up. There's, I think, 30% of the market is all the big brands that we know and love, like Bridgestone, Goodyear, Continental, Pirelli. They only account for 30% of the market. Yeah. The other 70% is upcoming brands. And
who are those upcoming brands? Is these the Hancocks?
No, Hankook is pretty much there already. They're perhaps not in our sphere of the summer performance, but in all season and winter they're pretty competitive. But Linglong, which makes people smile. But Linglong have done a tyre which Mr. Litchfield swears by, because they do all the tuning for the GTRs, and there isn't really a tyre that can cope with that mass and the level of performance that he's giving people on a track day that lasts a day. Apart from this, I think it's a Linglong N1 or something, which is a really heavy tyre, but it works with the Nissan.
If I saw a GTR on Linglong, that's just like red flags.
I know. We're all pretty much, we should be tyre snobs. Yeah. Whenever you go to look at a second-hand car, the first thing you do is check the tyres. If it's on rubbish tyres,
or a different brand on each corner.
Four rubbish tyres is the sign to walk away, isn't it?
Yeah. So what we do with our tyre tests is we always put in a budget tyre. Now the reason for that is partly because 70% of the market is these budget tyres. The stuff that you chuck on if you're MOT, your car fails its MOT, you haven't got the money to hand, you chuck a couple of cheap tyres on it with tread. And that's really not, it doesn't work out very well most of the time. This year's summer tyre test, which will be out in the issue that...
Yes, there'll be in the issue that's about to land and online.
Roughly 2 weeks from today.
Sort of this month in October.
So to see it. I mean, I do the tyre test for Auto Express as well, and Linglong did really quite well in their winter tyre test. So these brands are up and coming, and I've seen another test, European magazine, and a Linglong summer tyre has done quite well as well. So they know that there's always bigger profit in premium products. Yes. So they want, instead of selling tyres at 90 quid, they want to sell them at 130, along with all the other big boys. Yeah. So this year we did 235, 35, R19. Good field, 8 tyres plus our budget one. Now the reason for including the budget is not just because we need to see what the market's doing, it's to show the contrast between a high quality tyre and not
what
such
you get
high
for your money.
Yeah, basically. Exactly. And this year's tyre, we go through a German wholesaler, so everything we buy is from the open market. So there's no tyre manufacturers sending you the tyres, and then you're thinking, is this kosher? Is it an actual tyre that people can buy? So we get them all through a German wholesaler, and they get shipped to the tyre test facility, which this year was Rome. We were hosted by Bridgestone. And the budget tyre we chose this year was Cormoran. Now, the budget tyre...
I think my cat caught one of those ones.
I only found out afterwards because they have a list of tyres that they can supply, and we've used, I think there was one called Triangle one year, which is a great name for a tyre. So we just looked through the list. We haven't used one of those before. We'll go with one of these, and it's subsequently discovered it advertises itself as part of the Michelin group. So it's a Polish tyre company, and the tyre that we used was called the Cormoran Ultra High Performance. Well, it really wasn't. I always think the best way
to... the Michelin group, was it more the chef side than the tyre side?
Yes, probably, because it was a bit of a dog's dinner. So if you imagine in the Olympics, you have elite athletes lined up, 8 of them, and then imagine you put a guy from the local running club in the 9th lane. This is how it usually works out with the budget tyre. They all go off and drop their budget one. And this one was really quite interesting because the key test sort of for tyre makers is wet braking. That is where you need your performance. And the best tyre, which I think was a Bridgestone, from 50 miles an hour, it took 27.5 metres.
Okay.
So, and then the Cormoran, same test, same speed, 39.5 metres.
Wow.
So that's 12 metres. So that's more than 2 Mercedes S-Class.
That's a crash, isn't it?
Yeah.
But because the speed that you still have with your extra 12 metres
as well, wouldn't it?
is
It's
quite
still,
a lot.
still sizable speed, isn't it? And this test this year was on a BMW M135i X-Drive.
Yep.
Okay.
So mostly rear drive until it needs to shuffle some torque to the front if there's slip at the rear. And in all the other tyres, that was never an issue on the wet handling circuit, which is always the best bit. You come out of the corner and it maybe just takes a bit of attitude, sits down on the rear, just takes a bit of attitude and off you go. On the Cormoran, it was like a drift car. So early, and then you were coming out with opposite lock on.
Right.
And then through the faster curves, it was teetering on the edge.
But not fun. Opposite lock.
It was fun because it is, isn't it? But it was slow. It was like 8 seconds a lap slower than the best tyres, which might be fun when you know the road, as you do with the circuit. You learn the circuit, and then you try and be consistent with all the tyres to get the best data. So that was a bit of a shocker. And then to discover later that it advertises itself as part of the Michelin group. Michelin makes some of the best tyres in the world, as we'll come on to. But that bespoke element. The best example I've had of that was earlier this year. I think I mentioned I went to Michelin's test track in Ladue to drive the tyre that they made for the GT3 RS.
Oh, this is the wet tyre they've made for a GT3 RS.
Yeah. I mean, we did our car of the year on Cup 2s up in Scotland.
It was the Goodyear equivalent to Cup 2s, so whatever the Eagle F1 Super Sport. Anyway,
and it managed because you can turn the dampers down and get the suppleness and get the grip. But this tyre developed for Porsche with I think Jörg Bergmeister did most of the development. Top driver, lovely bloke. And around the wet handling circuit, which was a 90-second lap, it's a really interesting wet circuit as well. It was 10 seconds a lap quicker. And on the dry circuit, I mean, this tyre is supposed to be good between 5 and 15 degrees. It's perfect for autumn UK. And it was only a second or two slower
than the Cup 2.
And it felt brilliant, just as adjustable and flexible.
That's incredible.
So bespoking tyres, that is an ultimate example. But most performance car makers will produce
and
a tyre.
And it was initially, wasn't it? Oh, here's our staying with Michelin of naming conventions, Pilot Sport or Pilot 5S or S5, whatever they've changed it to confuse us, make sure the subs are awake when they're proofing copy.
Yeah, absolutely.
You would be Porsche or Mercedes or BMW, say, right, we want our spec of tyre for that, but it's now gone beyond that. It's now some of them are model by model, aren't they?
Yeah.
Of, well, here's a Cup 2, but it's a Cup 2 for a GT3 or an RS, and then it's a Cup 2R.
Yeah.
I had a call this morning just before we joined, talking to Maserati about the MC20 GT2 Stradale. Has a Cup 2R, which is a Cup 2R just for that car. It's not an off the shelf. You do wonder whether you're going to get to the point of where you can't buy an off the shelf of these tyres, because they're all bespoke to these cars.
Yeah.
But it's the way of getting the performance out of the cars. A lot of it now is in the tyres. You can't get any more power. As we were talking about before the break about emissions, there's going to be even more. So power's going to come out, less power. So you're working on aero, but actually people can't experience aero unless it's really high speed. So it's tyres that are going to make the difference.
And I wonder what the driver is to, because keeping stock of tyres. If you've got 30, 40 different Michelin Cup 2Rs for all the different cars that have had their tyre tailored to them, is it going to make that much difference if you put a stock off the shelf version of that tyre on it?
Yeah.
Is it going to invalidate warranties, or is it just the margins?
Or is it more the insurance companies will use it as an opportunity? That wasn't a BMW marked tyre, but it's exactly the same tyre.
Yeah, you'd have to have Michelin to say, here's a spider graph of grip, comfort, all the different characteristics of the tyre, and it's still within that margin, because I'm sure it is.
Yeah,
but
it must be, because our M5 Touring long-termer is on the 2.5 ton estate car is on a Preddy P0R. But you can also get an M5 on a Hankook.
Yeah.
Yes.
When we did the twin test against the Panamera, it was on Hankooks.
Yeah, which is designed for, that's the comfort day to day, but you also offer a performance tyre package. So they must perform within the same spider graph in terms of wet braking, but they've both got a BMW mark on the side of them.
Yeah,
if you were to put tyres on that didn't have that mark, what's the ramifications from your insurance company? What is the difference? And it would be marginal stuff. It would be feel and
that's it. Steering response, maybe the precision response. But I wonder if there's some driver somewhere for performance cars get their lapped by magazines to fit in tables like we've got one, haven't we? And if you can fit a sticky tyre that's an option to your car and move it up the order.
Well, how do you find your extra seconds against your competitor at the Nürburgring, for example? Here's the standard tyre, a Continental, but you can also have a Cup 2 or a Trofeo R as an option, and that's what we're set. Then it becomes a standard production car setting the lap time. But as we've discovered sometimes, just how quickly those tyres can go off, isn't it? It's you've had it with the McLaren on the Pirellis, haven't you, at Anglesey?
Yeah, that's right.
You've kind of got a 2-lap window.
It's a qualifying tyre.
And then you go off and have a cup of tea, let it cool down, and then go back through the warm-up cycle.
And it comes back.
Which isn't how people use their cars on track at all.
It's not a track day tyre then, is it?
Yeah.
What you want's a Linglong. That's what which will just take the abuse all day.
I mean, going back to the point on weight, I mean, BAC, back to the mono briefly, they fit some pretty spicy tyres to the road legal monos, and they last a really, really long time. But then obviously it's a very light car, and it's not putting 750 horsepower.
I think I did a whole championship in Caterham's K Series on one set of tyres.
Yeah.
Because nothing wears out.
Ginetta, they've changed. They're now with Pirelli, but their Academy series, which is their series for new drivers, which did a round of. Used to do a whole season on Michelin Pilot Sport 4S tyres. And it's amazing how well they stand up to race. They'll take a lock-up, they'll take
it was very slippy slidey, wasn't it?
I mean, it was you had to work very hard.
It was like 60s racing cars just doing
fantastic.
That the whole time.
And with the going through the heat cycle thing in qualifying, you'd see drivers would go out there, do 2 quick times, and then they'd back right off.
Yes.
And crawl rounds and then come back.
Go
but
again.
In the race, you can't do that. So all the fastest laps of the race will be on sort of lap 3 and 4. And then the lap times would go off a cliff. And at the end, all the drivers are sawing away at the wheel.
Forgotten how to drive.
But it's
I
interesting.
did the GT3 RS and Manti, the MR version at at Imola. The difference in actual performance between a Cup 2R and a Cup 2 wasn't huge, but the Cup 2R would only last 2 laps. So, are you good enough to get the benefit of it? What is the overall
We've just
benefit?
done, Yousuf and Dickie have just done a test at Anglesey with an RS and an MR. Cup 2s and then Cup 2Rs back to back, which is a video that's about to drop, I think is the word. The youth. And for those of you not the youth, it's about to go onto our YouTube channel. And that was a really because it was typical Anglesey. We had all seasons in one day, and it absolutely chucked it down in the morning, which we were a bit concerned is going to make the track really green. But actually, from the last time we've had an RS up there with Cup 2s, you were able to get more out of it, weren't you? You and Dickie, the consistency between the lap times all the time on the Cup 2s on both cars actually was really consistent, wasn't it?
I think it was 0.8 quicker than when we last lapped an RS on the same tyres.
I remember that day. It was a slippy day.
Yeah, because you and Dickie were both struggling with the 750S,
That's right,
because you just couldn't get its power
really
down.
Traction limited. As you say, couldn't
Made
put
for a
the
good
power down.
video clip though on our
It did,
Instagram. Fourth gear
I
oversteer
was
at 100 miles an
working
hour.
quite hard. Yes.
But that was really interesting because we had standard RS, Manti RS, and with the standard car, with the Manti, we had a Cup 2 and a Cup 2R to try. Standard car was just the Cup 2R, and I went out first in the standard car on the Rs, and it felt great. And I was like, really, how is the Manti going to get close to this or beat it? And then I drove the Manti on Cup 2s, so not the Rs. And they were very close. And I thought, is the Cup 2R really going to make that much of a difference? But then it went a second and a bit quicker on the Rs. And then when you think about how much work has gone into the Manti, with the aero and the suspension and everything being bespoke, with the geometry and things, for the Cup 2Rs to make the same amount of difference and get that much ahead, it's all in the tyre, isn't it, really?
Porsche have said, Andreas Pruniger, you sat down with him a couple of weeks ago, didn't you? They've said with the GT3 they're not chasing power anymore. So where does that performance gain come from? Aero, but that's a very high sort of skill set for driver, isn't it? To work the aero on a car. But the tyre is a much wider sort of operating window for more people to experience a performance gain.
Because I think they did the same lap time. So the Manti on the Cup 2Rs did the same time. So the Manti on the normal Cup 2s did the same time as the normal RS on the Cup 2Rs. So the difference in the tyres is the same as the difference between the mechanical layouts of the cars and things, and the upgrades from the Manti.
I suppose also the way a car works its tyres is different as well, with whether it's aero or damping or geometry. It can switch the tyres on differently, can't
It's
it?
really a confidence thing, I found, especially through the high-speed stuff at Anglesey. You can use more of the track and you feel more confident to just wind on a bit more steering lock and the car's going to bite. And you need to think about your technique less. I think it's still equally hard to get the peak out of it. You just drive the car without thinking, I've got to manage something here or get it turned in.
There's also a bit of the circuit at the top of the hill where if you're driving a car you don't trust, you end up on the left of the track as you're approaching a tight left-hander, whereas it's a car you can feel you can do what you want with. It's much easier to drag it back over to the right to get a better line.
And even if it's a car that can do that and take the proper line but isn't feeling trustworthy, you're less likely to get it right every time, aren't you? Whereas with something more consistent like the Manti on the Cup 2Rs, every lap is consistent but on the right part of the track.
Track stuff is great. We don't all live on James.
We don't
all live on the track.
I wish I did.
On road, because we're older, we've experienced these Cup 2s and track tyres being put onto road cars over the last 20 years. They weren't always great, were they?
Well, no. The one we were talking about earlier was the E46 M3 CSL, which came with a disclaimer, didn't it?
Disclaimer on the passenger seat,
because I think it was a Michelin Cup tyre.
It was a Cup.
That was the first time that was on a road car, wasn't it?
Yes, and it came with a laminated piece of paper saying, "You've got into this car. You're now liable
These
for
are sketches."
deciding whether the conditions are suitable for the tyre.
Because if it's cold and wet,
it's
all on you, boy.
If there's an hour in the month,
which I don't think you could get away with that these days. You couldn't put that sort of disclaimer in a car.
No, not just lift. Well, I mean, Lotus still do it, but
But I think the tyres, you say what been advances in tyres, there was legislation a little while ago that came in to say that those sort of tyres had to have a minimum amount of performance in the wet.
Yeah. Okay.
So they have to be able to clear a certain amount of water, and they have to deliver.
and they do, don't they? Because when we Anglesey tipped it down in the morning, but we're still able to actually go out and get. We won't use any of it because the weather was awful. But you could still drive the car, and it wasn't. They're not all over the place. You've had it on the road, as you say, in Car of the Year, on those good years on the RS.
Yeah.
In weather that we were like, ooh, and even Porsche were like, "Are you sure about this?" But and the Trofeos that you get on McLarens, we've had just looking at a 765 LT on a lovely new wall.
Yeah.
That was on Trofeo R in the Borders. There was a couple of days of inclement weather, but you still enjoy the car. You're mindful of it's always in the back of your mind, but there's still some weird decisions being made on certain tyres, isn't there, with certain models?
Yeah. M135i.
I was about to say BMW
on Cup 2 tyres.
Yes.
Which is bizarre. I think for that car, it's quite hard to make it feel like a proper hot hatch because it's based on a mini platform. It's front wheel drive essentially, but this one is 4-wheel drive. So they've just thrown everything at it to make it feel aggressive and grippy, which it does, but fundamentally it doesn't feel like a proper hot hatch. It just feels like a really grippy normal car. Which is just,
it's no 1980s MR2.
Exactly. Yeah.
You're not getting anything back from it, though, are you?
Yeah.
You're just getting loads of grip, and then I guess no grip.
And lots of oversteer.
It's the limits is in the chassis, isn't it? So it's just
exactly.
over-tired.
Yeah.
And the Peugeot E208 GTI is also on Cup 2.
Because normally electric cars, they want the lowest rolling resistance possible, don't they?
Well, I think there's a Bridgestone also available, but it was revealed and launched on a Cup 2.
With those really dramatic wheels as well.
That you could see through the red filter that they'd used almost to mask the car, which was weird in the photographs. But they've got a lot of torque. So, but you don't necessarily just want a really grippy tyre to manage the torque. You want to put that management through the chassis and the damping.
Engineer it properly.
And engineer it into it. It's always been when a car turns up, what tyres is it on? What's as you say, Michelin have always been sort of top of their game, but there's other brands that have been in one area. They've offered something. It's the Megane R26R, wasn't it? It came on
Toyo 888s, were they?
888s,
which sounded like a Land Rover tyre, that because there's so little tread on it.
And the original NSX came on those Yokohamas, didn't they?
Yes. Gosh, yes.
Which were, I'm going to get this wrong now, asymmetrical, weren't they? So you had to put left, right,
directional,
the whole
4 different tyres.
Basically 4 different tyres.
You have sort of race style, pen
LR,
markings on it.
Don't do that. Yeah, but they were every permutation you can get, rather than just it's a directional. It's also a left-hand directional tyre. So it's been around for a while, but we all know when you get in a car with the wrong tyres, don't we? I think we've borrowed some cars before we're very grateful for readers lending us cars and dealers lending us cars, but sometimes they turn up and
it doesn't feel right.
It doesn't feel how I remember it.
Especially when we borrow them in winter.
Yeah, we do have some friends at various tyre makers, tyre manufacturers, who will donate a set of tyres.
Yes, thank you, Antoinette Preddy. I'm very grateful for you.
And also, Continental.
Yeah,
Samara does a good job there for us.
There's but they're interested in how, because we're running an RS6 and that comes on an optional. Well, it's not an option. It's an option you have to tick, but you can't order the car without ticking the box, and that's why it's an option. High performance tyre, which is the Continental Sport Contact 7.
Okay.
When we first got the car, it felt really hard edged, sort of quite an unsettled ride, constantly sort of a vibration and frequency through.
That's odd, because that's one of the best, the surprises of that car.
After it did about 6,000-7,000 miles, smoothed out, brilliant. And those tyres are done. So Henry put some winters on it for 3,000 miles. So that car did 16,000 miles on a set of Contis. Didn't need replacing. It went in for a service the other week and they put brand new tyres on it. And now I'm back into the phase.
You're running the tyres in for another 6,000 miles.
Yeah, but it goes back at the end of November. So I've got to do a lot of miles before I get back to that.
Stick it on a rolling road.
You think that when you wear them out, you get less tread and less compliance.
Yeah.
But I guess they soften up with time.
Does the sidewall sort of become more pliant or something?
It's an Audi, it's got no sidewalls. It's on 20T.
It's on rubber bands.
Yeah.
You wouldn't expect, it doesn't really make sense. 'Cause you don't want the actual stability of the tyre to change at all.
No,
Yeah.
you want consistency, don't
Yeah.
It just feels really hard when they're new, and it just takes a while to set. And that, but though initially I was like, oh, do I get these changed to a Pirelli or a Michelin or something? But once they bedded in and run in, it was brilliant. And that's done 5, not track days, but we've been using it as a chase car
Tracking
for a lot
car,
of
yeah.
filming. Normally chasing Dickie around a circuit in an AMG or something, and it's got 25 kilos of camera gear bolted to the front of it. And it's done all that, and it's 16,000 miles on those Continentals. They were
Are they,
phenomenal.
pointy question, are they bespoke to the car?
They're an Audi spec tyre.
Yeah.
Comes back to they've spec'd it to the performance.
But they've obviously, I'd say they pulled a lever on mileage as well, because that's pretty remarkable.
Yeah, it was. Yeah, a lot of my miles are just quite tedious, but then you throw it. Well, you've done some driving, haven't you, for the filming?
Yeah, around Silverstone.
Around Silverstone.
It's a big show.
Yeah, it's done Silverstone, it's done Brands Hatch. Quite.
It's a heavy car
It's
as
a
well.
heavy car. Goodwood, which is all speed and quite abrasive.
Goodwood works tyres
Tough
really
tyres.
hard.
Yeah, because our Alpha Julia, which was
Yes.
on Pirellis, would do a lap and a half, and the near side front would be absolutely
It went
shredded.
through its tyres so quickly, that car.
But they were super soft, weren't they? You spotted our first long-termer of how do you get. That's the other way of getting grip into it, isn't it? It's changing the
The
Very
compound.
soft compound.
Yeah.
Super sticky, but no
Very
use.
smoky as well.
Well, funnily enough, photographers prefer Pirellis because they make more smoke
Okay.
than Michelins.
And there are chunks coming
Yes.
off the tyres in the shots.
Yeah. So that's a slightly specialised requirement. But,
Or maybe your cormorant tyre.
maybe it's a saving grace.
We should add a smoke test to the tyre
Yeah.
test now.
It was
like
it
in
was,
D1 GP, is it?
It was
Where that's part
also
of the...
fairly awful in the dry as well.
Oh god.
It squealed and you could feel
Oh, so it was a US tyre that would do 100,000 miles before it.
yeah, certified,
So-
guaranteed mileage.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Rock hard, made out of
What's
bricks.
that all about?
Do you think you'll ever test an airless tyre, John?
The weird thing about tyres is that these innovations, they come and they go.
Yeah.
I think there's so much, and increasingly there's so much that they now know how to make tyres really, really good. So unless it's a very specific application, I think the standard tyre is sort of, performing brilliantly.
It'd probably be like driverless cars and taxis and stuff. So if you get a puncture, they can just keep driving, I guess.
Good point.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because nothing has a spare wheel
Yeah.
in it anymore.
Yeah.
As an aside, if you get punched with a car without a spare wheel and you're stranded, have you ever come across the guys that come along with a fully balanced the tyre is balanced? They don't have a balancing machine on their van. So they fit the tyre and the tyre is pre-balanced
Oh, right.
to just a generic.
That assumes that the wheel is also
balanced as well.
Yeah, and the weights haven't come off when you've hit the pothole.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which
Well,
my
the
wife
weights-
hadn't, and when she hit the pothole, she was very good. She kept the weights on the tyre.
But the
on
weights
wheel.
would have been there for the previous tyre.
Yes,
Yeah. That's weird.
and the tyre is a non-branded
Ooh.
tyre. Yeah.
Ooh.
That sounds like a lot of wheel shake to me.
Yeah.
To be fair, I mean it's not too bad, but I do need to get it changed.
Yeah,
But I was
yeah.
just at the side of the road. Obviously, I
That's
got
a-
a phone call saying I'm at the side of the road with a puncture. Can you come and get me? Thinking that I wasn't then going to be stood at the side of the road as Mrs. G went home in my car. And the bloke turned up in a transit van and fitted the wheel. I said, "Oh, need to balance it." He said, "No, its tyres are pre-balanced."
So the tyre itself is pre-balanced.
Yeah,
Maybe that all of the wheels are more consistent.
yeah.
Mm.
So how did that happen? He didn't just see a car with a puncture.
No, you phone the AA and then they say we'll prioritise women and children, and they don't. So you then have to tag them in social media to say my wife and daughter at the side of the road in the dark with a puncture.
It's always a good way of speeding things up, isn't it?
So then the AA turn up and say, yeah, that's a puncture. We're like, yeah, but I know that. And then they
Yeah.
called a firm that comes out and speaking to the guy, they just do all the motorway stuff. It's to get people off motorways and things.
Yes.
Because they're not balancing, which is that can take some time.
Right.
Getting a wheel balanced if
Okay.
it's gone into a pothole. Or something. It's
yeah.
literally just an emergency, get you off a motorway or get
Yeah.
you home. I imagine it's rock hard and it will last forever.
I wonder how they balance them.
I don't know. Is it just? It must be just a basic weight put into the tyre.
But how? You've got to stick it to the rubber.
In the tread somewhere.
Interesting.
In the carcass. But yeah, anyway,
I'll have a look.
Have a look into that.
Yeah.
I'll be able to give you one in a minute when I take it off the car and I'll bring it back to the office.
Yeah. Yeah, do. I'd like to have a look at that.
Yeah, I'll find it. I don't think it's one of those weird things. It's sort of skunk works or secret. It's got no branding on it as the tyre.
Interesting.
And loads of tread. But
what tyre is it? What corner?
Front near side.
Okay.
Yeah, the usual pothole side.
Yeah.
I see. So round that's just going to be straight on.
Yeah.
Great for the Indy 500 though.
Yeah. Perfect oval racing tyre. I think we've probably exhausted. Tyres gone a bit flat on the topic, haven't we?
We could go
Need to
round
tread
again.
carefully.
Oh, gosh, sorry about this. Yeah, which is probably a good time to wrap this up. I haven't done this for 29 episodes, but if you do enjoy this, can you like and subscribe? Because apparently we're meant to do it from episode 1 and we haven't. But yeah, thank you for listening to us rambling on. We will be back next time. So Yousuf, John, James,
Thank you.
Thank you very much. We'll see you all next time.